Time really flew by. Oh, I see echoing.
Yeah.
Everyone in distance.
I think there's nothing we can do. It's come from a microphone, so.
Okay.
The echo?
Hello?
Is it coming from?
Oh no, I mean we have that static voice.
Oh, the static. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You can be the host.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, this room has like the craziest music.
Because we have like 4 videos.
I forgot that I'm live streaming.
We are live streaming for
Oh yeah, which
YouTube.
YouTube?
For Facebook, I can go live.
Okay. All right. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Yeah, I do hear an echo again. It's the TV. Do you know how we can turn it off?
What about like if you melt the voice on TV, on computer?
Yeah, how? No idea.
Is there a voice? Is it close?
You said this one. Will that affect? Okay, let me check.
No doubt, yes. Just turn.
Hello? But can people hear me? Is the question though.
But we are using this trip.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, Berwin can let us know if we're having sound issues.
Do you want to say something?
Hello, how are you? Welcome to the live stream.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, you can? Okay, that's good, that's great. All right, so I'll continue. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Maria. I'm an art advisor at Le Pont Gallery and YouknowArts. Currently, I am going to introduce you to our latest project, which is an NFT-based project. Would you mind giving me the artist name? That would have been a very good thing for me to have on hand before this. So for the upcoming Lunar New Year, we are celebrating the Year of the Tiger, and we have collaborated with a digital-based artist, not a digital-based artist, an artist working with within digital mediums to create a set of tigers that. Oh, that's me. No, don't watch me. And there you go, close. That was super rehearsed. Please ignore. So we have different versions of this particular lion. We have there's 4 of them, if I'm correct. Correct?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, just 4 of them. One of them is an angry tiger. One of them is a.
We have 5.
We have 5. Okay, 5 of them. So what are the expressions that we have? We have an angry. I remember Tony mentioned this on the chat.
We use some different elements. So basically, we have one. I don't know if you like watch The Fifth Elements, the movie?
No.
Okay, so it's like, so this is like represent the earth,
Okay.
and I think maybe oud.
Oud?
Yeah, the tree oud.
Okay.
Yeah, and the water
How do you spell that?
and the fire.
Okay.
Oh, this is earth. So I don't know.
The 5 elements. Can I go
Yeah.
on Wikipedia? Would the live stream penalize me for this? Can we ask next?
I can help you to find
Yeah,
it.
thank you, so that we don't get penalized. Thank you so much. So if you're new watching, Jade, who is sitting left to me, is also assisting me with some of the technical, not only the technical, but also the logistical information that I'm currently filling myself on. And it has music, right? I wonder if people can I? Oh yeah, but I no longer have. So we had created this very lovely virtual room. So which elements? Oh, okay. So, okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much, Jade. So this collaboration is based on the Chinese philosophy that the universe is divided in different elements. And those would be water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. And each one of these artworks. So this purple one over here would be earth. Okay, earth. And let's go to this one over here. So I imagine this one's earth again because it's a purple one. And this one over here would be
Metal.
metal. Okay. Oh, this one, is this one? Oh, no, it's not.
It's the same one, the purple one.
Okay, same purple one. Okay. And you are welcome to join me in this room over here. I'll include the link on the live streams. So if you like to join me, you can. Beware that there is sound when you enter the virtual room. And you see me struggling finding the mouse over here. I think I can mostly see the metal one and this one, right?
Not the same one.
Yeah, we only have the 2 of them available, but there's 5 of them.
Yes.
So if you, we will be printing out these artworks in a print form, and they will be available for $2,000, correct?
I'm not sure about the price.
Okay, so we're not sure. So we're still finalizing the little details, but it should be around that price range, and you will be gifted an NFT to go with the print as well. Do you know who the artist is?
Oh, it's E1.
E1. Okay. So thank you so much, E1, for creating these wonderful digital artworks that we can admire in this very lavish room. They went all out when it came to deciding which where to congregate all these pieces. Concurrent viewers. I wish I could see who's watching us.
Don't think we have. Well, it's like concurrent viewer is like 2 and 3. But
Mhm.
I only can see me.
Yeah. Goodness. And I keep losing sight of my mouse because this screen is so big and there's so much white around it. Oh,
Jen
yeah.
is suggesting that when you talk, you can like look at the camera sometimes.
Look at the camera.
I know
like
it's
this.
like hard to look at the camera.
Yeah, I know.
You have to look at the screen.
Yes, that's true. So all the introduction, I don't know much about Chinese philosophy. That could be a whole. I've been interested in taking a course because I noticed that some artists, I noticed similarities in their works, and I think this has to do with a great deal of the Chinese philosophy. Like, for example, in our current roster of artists, we have an artist named Go Yan, and her work she tends to pick circular canvases. And I noticed that it wasn't just her. We also had this other artist, her name was Fanny Tang, and she based her exhibition on the concept of the, what was it, round sky and flat earth. And I noticed that even with the next exhibition that's coming up in February, Long, he does have a series of flower petals, and the way he decides to actually pin the flowers on the walls, it's in a circular form again. So I find that there's always this ongoing circular theme that I notice a lot within our Chinese artists that I don't particularly see with our other artists, from international artists from the gallery. So I just thought that, I mean, it could be a coincidence, but for the fact that it's been, let's say, Goyan, Fanny, Long, just some. No, I would say Amy Chan. I would argue that Amy Chan, yeah, she has very circular based artworks as well. Yeah, she does like working with this particular, and she's a ceramic artist. So yeah, that is pretty interesting that I keep seeing the circular form, like the circle and the square being represented so much within their works. Could be a coincidence, but I am working towards the fact that it may not be. There may be working with an unconscious philosophy that they grew up with, and maybe it just kind of comes into their work, while they're also blending it with the current Western canon that they're operating under. So look at what a cute illustration. Would you happen to know who made that?
I don't know.
You don't know. Leo, if you're watching, please let us know. We would appreciate your input very much. So let's look at this work. I can right click it. Yes, I can. Excellent. Yes, we can zoom in into the details. So first and foremost, it's very elegant in its execution, that it's.
I don't know, like what did you see when you first see the image?
Yes, interesting you mentioned that. I'm actually very drawn to the nose of this particular tiger. I was going to say lion, but it's a tiger. I'm just so tempted to say that. But then it's super colorful. I mean, obviously, there's so much color. It's green, purple. And this one is the earth, correct? Or can you fact check me on that? Or was it the fire?
I remember it's metal, because we only have metal and earth, right? And earth is a purple one.
Okay, metal and earth. Is that what the character at the top says as well? What does the character?
It's the lunar time.
The lunar
or,
time.
like,
Oh,
Chinese.
okay, I
Yeah.
see. So many of these patterns are very reminiscent of the Chinese ink calligraphy that I see when you see the clouds. There's a very particular name for this clouds, which I can't recall at the top of my head, but this is another. Jade, you might be more acquainted with this particular pattern. This is something I do see when they weave it into the red string. Would you happen to know the importance of that particular pattern when we see them in weave?
I know, like most of the Chinese knots, it's made it's for the good words.
Oh.
So usually, you should have a good wealth.
Oh,
and
good wealth. Yeah.
Yeah, most of them are wealth. and
Mhm.
then peace. And it's kind of like a symbol to protect you,
Mhm.
especially for the Chinese New Year,
Mm-hmm.
because we do have mythological, like a legend like story.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's about like the monster when it came out,
Mm-hmm.
like the night before the New Year.
Oh, so the
Yeah.
monster came out before the New Year.
Yeah.
So New Year's Eve.
Yeah, so like basically a New Year's Eve. So
Mhm.
you have to like wear something like protect you. So
Oh,
you can have
okay.
it protects the New Year.
All right. So
Yeah.
you will be protected.
Mm-hmm.
I see. For most of my life, I've actually never worn anything to protect myself around the lunar year. So this is something. That's also a pattern I see in red packets. Now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I find that these swirls over here remind me of the kites. Like, yeah, if I can mention, will this get me in trouble now? Actually, I wish I had my phone so I could show you right here what I mean by the kites. It's just, if you look at, I wonder if just going very broad with Chinese kites, I know that I seen this particular.
Some of them using like animals.
Yeah, so I find that if you see the butterfly in specifically, let me go back into this one. Let me see. Chinese kites. Yeah, see? I'm so glad. Oh, this one in particular. That's what I making Chinese kites. Excellent. So yes, I'm so glad that I remember some of my iconography. I know some of this because at the beginning, Arts used to be called YKLM, and we used to auction off Chinese antiques. And most of my work required researching these particular antiques by browsing the catalogs of other auction houses. And that's how I became informed about some of the, I guess you could say, patterns. Not patterns, like when it came to the patterns of, I would say I became most acquainted with the pottery, and then I recognized it a little bit on the weaving, and just I used to tend to go in tangents because I became very interested with the patterns and in the pottery, and I kept seeing them repeated in other, not only in the fabrics as well, and I saw it within the sculpture sometimes. So I just sort of like went into tangents when I was researching. So me having fun looking at other aspects of the
This tablet right here, it's actually
this one, yeah,
This one,
yeah,
the round one with the diamond shape.
yeah.
That's an ancient dollar.
Yeah, it's the Qin Dynasty, Qin
I think it's
Qin Dynasty,
yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes I get confused.
Oh yeah, 110%. So that's really good that I'm so glad that you're also here and pointing that one out. It's great that you mentioned that one. So we do see, I guess, fortune as a way to interpret this. I mean, obviously we see the, let me zoom in into this, we see the yin and yang, great foundational point of many Chinese philosophies, I find. But don't quote me on that because what do I know? But not even I.
Chinese nut right here. This is the most common one.
Which one? Oh yeah, the Chinese knots.
It's cheeks.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for bringing that out. That's what this is exactly. I wish I could bring out the Google images that AJ has brought up, but unfortunately, I've been warned that when I go into Google Images,
Some of it is like copyrighted.
yeah, some of the images are copyrighted, and live streams tend to, I would guess the word would be shadow bound. They tend to discourage other people from actually seeing your live stream, so I can't show you at the moment. But if you Google Chinese knots, this particular pattern, does it have a name by any chance? I do think, yeah, I'm 100% sure it has a name. But we don't know. But you will see it's a Chinese knot, which is quite wonderful that we were able to catch on that.
Like, the most common one.
Yeah, it's the most common one, according to Jay. So let's try to analyze the the purple one a little bit more. I know that we have a purple one over here, but I want to find a bigger one at the top. Ah, only if I knew how to walk properly. I don't think we have a giant one. Let me see. I don't think we do.
It's the same size?
Yeah, I think they're the same size, but it's okay. I'll right click into it. So let's see what imagery. So we see many of the same imageries we saw in the previous one with the currency. Do you think this one could be nuts or could be clouds? Kind of gives me
Do you see some like cloud elements?
cloud-like elements. Where do you see them?
So this could be clouds or fire.
Yeah, I do see fire for this particular. Why do you think that?
The ear?
Yeah, and the ears, 110%. So why do you think we will see fire in an element that's specifically metal-based? Is it because we use fire to mold this particular element? But it comes from the earth as well, right?
Oh, because we do have a system.
A system. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So,
so how does that
so
system work?
We have a system like say generating interaction.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this is something else I didn't know, but these elements can interact with one another. Oh, and you can flip it. Whee! I'm just gonna do this.
So in another way, you can say like the earth is like come from fire.
The earth comes from a fire element. I
Yeah.
see.
So they do have like a circle, so it's like a round
Mm-hmm.
system.
Oh, I see.
So earth comes from fire, and the metal comes from the earth,
Mm.
and then water comes from the metal, and will come from water.
I see. Yeah, and so on that particular chart that Jade has, I also noticed that the fire can interact with the metal, and the metal can interact with the wood, which I think is very interesting. I would like to know more about that. I wish we had someone who actually specialized in this particular thematic and philosophy. It would be so wonderful. I find that it's not often that we here as a Western artist, we encounter the opportunity to learn about Chinese philosophy, and I know it's super abundant in its roots.
It's all like Chinese philosophy is come from like Taoism.
Taoism. Taoism, okay.
Oh, see you again.
Yeah, that's me. Oh my
You
goodness.
can stop it.
Yeah, I did stop it. So let's look at the rest of the virtual. They kind of went all out for it, and they did it in such a short time that we're working overtime. I know it. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, adorable. I like this tree. Nice chunky tree. So me having taken animation, I know that this is this type of tree is something that we call low poly.
Low poly.
Low poly. It means that it uses very few lines. It's very geometric. So one point that gives it away is the geometry. You can see it's very chunky. So it's using a low amount of actual points that connect to one another to create this particular shape. Yeah, because ideally in 3D you want things to be rounded and you want things to mimic real-like qualities. And it's very difficult to get to that point. Personally, I like a more animated, I guess, a more suggestive, something that is still convincing of a tree, because I can still tell it's a tree, but it's not like a very realistic tree. So
I do like it.
yeah, I do enjoy. Oh, look at.
I think of like a Minecraft.
Oh yeah, Minecraft. I wonder if that was their inspiration. Because if you see this, I wish I could actually point out these lanterns. Well, because they're of their shape. Let me go into the second floor. So they have added some ribbons going up towards here, which I think is rather nice. And throughout all of this, you can hear our announcements. YouknowArts. Let me see.
And we do have like a sofa-like area over there.
We have a sofa where?
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh my goodness.
The green one.
It's kind of nice. Let me go there. Sorry. I'm maneuvering this area. Oh, how nice. Excellent. So if you're in the Richmond, Canada area, you can come into the gallery and actually see the this five edition series, and you can actually purchase it. We're still finalizing the details. This is more of a preview, but you're very welcome to inquire more about, you know, if you're very interested and you like to obtain the print and its NFT form as well, let us know. We'll leave the link below for the YouknowArts. Thank you so much, Yade. I wish we had the other version so we can draw the contrast. So what I find interesting is that they've chosen purple for the metal, and even though this lion's meant to be the earth, I would imagine something more green, but I find it to still be very golden in its execution. Still very golden.
Because when you zoom in, are they going to like more green color of the top there?
No, too much.
Right? Because like they have different shades.
Yeah,
of green.
yeah. For the other one, I find, yeah, like when I see it from the distance, I do think, like for example, this one, without a doubt, I can say the dominant color palette is purple. Although it does have its complementary to draw more attention to the eyes, to the center of this particular figure, which is the tiger, versus this one that it's just, I find it very overwhelming in terms of color. I don't wish to critique the artist very much because it's still quite a lovely image. So there you go. Celebrate the Chinese New Year with us. I was talking to my coworker Yvonne. I know that people in China do not call it Chinese New Year. You guys just call it New Year. Yes, for
But
sure.
in here you can say like people say Chinese New Year.
Chinese New Year.
Or Lunar New Year.
Lunar, yeah, we do refer it as Lunar New Year. I noticed that there's been a shift to get it towards the Lunar New Year, so it matches that calendar more than Chinese New Year. I don't know why, but there you go. Should I move on to a different? Yeah, no one's watching. I feel so
Yeah.
comfortable.
We can move on to-
Oh, I think we're getting another bot on the live chat. Hello, bot. How are you?
Is it the same one again?
Yeah, I don't think so, but it is like a Russian-based robot. Not robot, bot. They're just a bot. I don't know why my eyebrow always looks so different. I always have the nicer eyebrow here, but the camera is always this way.
We can move the camera on the side.
Okay, sure. And I just don't like how
it's too bright?
this light doesn't flatter me much.
Do you want me to turn it off or wait?
Let's see. Thank you so much. I'm just being so picky.
So I can turn it off?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Much better.
Yeah, it's good.
I actually think I have like real skin now. I was looking too pale on the other one. Alrighty, should I show them different rooms? I guess. Yeah, some of these rooms are under the, I guess they were kind of something that Nam was experimenting with when he was creating these rooms. But then he came towards a lobby that looked like more of a gallery. Let me show you this one in particular. Something that, Joan room. I can never see my mouse. Okay, join room. Enter room. So I have entered this room again. The reason why I did that is because something that the director Tony and I discussed was that for his artworks, for Pepe's work, we do think this particular dark background actually is very suitable for his work because he's referencing a lot of historical aspects of the art canon. One of them being the Saint Anthony's Temptation, which is, there's so many interpretations by so many well-known artists throughout history. And then, and you can see a very clear distinction of the genres within his work. Like you see the still lifes, you see the landscapes, you see the figurative ones, and then you see the ones that attempt to do the historical with like the epic stories, I mean. So his work is very suitable for this particular color. And let me go back. We do find that for someone more contemporary like Jeff, there's a bit of it does create way too much contrast. So we do have a preference to have these artworks in a white gallery like we have here, right at the back over here. It's just the subject matter tends to lean towards this particular quote-unquote look that is already very common within other art galleries. And I keep looking at the live stream. No one's here, but we're still doing our thing. Oh, I can actually, art with the Google. White color options. So I just want to give people a sneak peek of what we are exhibiting for the next exhibition. So we are exhibiting works by Chinese-born artist Long Gao. So he, at a very young age, moved to Canada and got his, he did his studies in Toronto, and then now he currently is Vancouver-based. Let me show you. So when he brought in these works, I find that I actually saw the smaller works like this ones. Let me show you. So I saw the 15 by 21. To give you, they're kind of like this size. They're not that big. They're kind of like not much bigger than a paper.
Than your laptop.
Yeah, just slightly bigger than this laptop over here, just to give you a visual of how big these artworks are. So I actually see most of his works at this scale. So I kind of joke with him and tell him, hey, they kind of look like cheese cubes. So I really enjoy it as this aspect. But these are meant to be capturing the essence of either sunset or sunrise. So he's very much interested in exploring how he can capture the visceral experience that you get when you experience the sunlight. And this is his interpretation of that exploration. And then something that he's done, which is why I have so many of his, on the gallery you see so many of these angles, is that they look very different from the front and from the sides, because these works are meant to be experienced in many different positions, and depending on your height, how you position yourself in relation to the work, the experience is going to be completely unique to you, because in the gallery we have really giant windows, and we always have and the light situation is always fluctuating. It's always either very bright, or if it's raining, we get a very dark atmosphere in the gallery. So you will always be experiencing these works from a very different perspective every single time. The artist has used metallic paints to achieve this particular to achieve this particular, not aesthetic, this particular, he has used that as a means to get to that particular idea that he wishes that we're always experiencing something different with sunsets, because it's always shifting. And that particular moment, you're not going, there's an ephemerality to experiencing the sunlight. And he wanted to capture that with the metallic paint by basically giving you the idea that it would always be shifting.
I think that's his like statement.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. I'm just basically regurgitating his statement.
But I do wonder for the Vancouver summer.
Vancouver summer, yeah.
So it's like the trial one, is it?
This one?
Yeah.
What is it what was your question, sorry?
So it has like three paintings putting together.
Yeah. This is called a triptych. So triptych, as it says right here, it's a work divided in 3 sections. So this is a very common technique used within the visual arts, where sometimes an artist wishes to achieve a really large scale. It doesn't necessarily have to be a large scale, but in order to make a large scale artwork to be easier to move, he will break it in separate canvases so that they're easy to transport. So it has that very functional aspect to it. Sometimes it does it has a bit more of a narrative-driven function, where you get like your beginning, middle, and end of a story. And you use this a lot in, let's say, in historical painting. So you see it like, the one that comes to mind is the works of Hieronymus Bosch. He really liked working with it. Not that he liked, it's just that he did a lot of triptychs that are very well known within the art canon. So in very much the same regard.
I don't know if you know, is there a meaning that why the artist leave the white space between each canvas?
Between each canvas.
Yeah, because like he is the spinner.
Yes.
He also used the same style.
Yes, I can actually, that's a really great question. So I'm gonna, YKL actions. So to point this out, let me bring it, this one?
Yeah.
Is this one? Oh yeah, the triptych. So as you can see over here, this one is also a triptych, and as the artist has divided the painting in 3 separate sections, instead of what Jay was asking is that why would an artist be so why would an artist, if he's wanting to create a large painting and combine it within 3 sections, why would there be any space in between the paintings? And I think it goes once again to my point of view that there's a bit of a narrative. Like when you experience a sunset, the sunset's very brief. It's always changing, I find. So I think that for my own interpretation, I would see this as he is experiencing different, like the moving of this sunset. So like when it starts and then as it moves towards, or it could be, this one's particularly more about the summer. So I do think that he has also incorporated some rain. Vancouver's well known for being a very rainy city. Yeah, Vancouver. So that's how we like to call Vancouver every now and then. And I do see that maybe he's trying to tell us the 3 different months, so June, July, and August, and as he sees them. So personally, I would see it like as that narrative driven, that we get like some sort of overlapping story. And then he's giving us, when you see these artworks in person, you can actually, because of the combination of the green and blue, you do get the sense of green. and it reflects really well on the scenery of Vancouver because this is a very green city, and you know it's very admired by its environment from its environmental aspect. So I do think that it's actually quite a nice touch that you can enjoy and see at the gallery. So you're very welcome to come to the opening, which is happening next week, Saturday. So that'll be a Saturday from 2 to 5 p.m. So that would be PST time. Obviously, I think you have to be based here, so you would know that it's PST time. But if you're curious, we would be doing another virtual room for him, and you can spend more time with these artworks. So this is very good because, let me see. Yeah, you can see how sometimes the blue blends with the yellow, and it creates this somewhat of a green gradient. Not gradient, it just emerges into this green that I really like because it's very representative of what I think of Vancouver during the summer. You get your bits of sun, you get a lot of rain in there, and then, you know, at the backdrop of a very green city. So that's very much the Vancouver experience, I find. So I really enjoy, I actually really enjoy, we were talking about this one. I want to go in. So now it looks like a bit of a Morocco. I find that we were talking with the coordinator, and we do see a bit of a Rothko influence with his work, especially the more color block ones, the yellow ones. But once again, from the side, you can always see these shifting, how the work shifts from, so look at it from the front. And then from the side, there's always this shifting quality of light and how the metallic paints reflect back onto the viewer, even from when he was photographing this image. And when we zoom in, it's a very different experience. So because this is such a large artwork, you can spend quite a bit of time just sort of looking at all the details that he's put into the work and seeing the nuances. Something that the artist meant for the viewer to see is how there's a lot of nuances in terms of how he achieves different depths of yellow, because he did build many layers of yellow, and this gives you a sense of perspective within the hues that you're observing. I find that this is a little easier to notice with a color painting like this one, versus one like this one that does take a little bit more of seeing it in person. So you can actually see how these hues create this sense of perspective. So I do enjoy that, because light is not something that can be actually graphed or encapsulated, as we like to say within this work, but there's this nuance within the hues that you're seeing.
You've been captured.
Hmm?
You've been captured by Tony.
I've been captured
Yeah.
by bots?
No, by Tony. I saying, oh, we are having a live stream right now. Please join us.
Oh, no. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tony, for advertising the live. It's always a pleasure to welcome new eyes into the gallery. And you're very welcome to follow us on social media. Jay will very kindly give you the link to our social media at instagram.com/YouknowArts with an S at the end. And then from then you can follow our updates. We are always constantly doing new things to the virtual exhibitions, not only virtual, but also on site. So we are based in Richmond, Canada. And if you don't know this is within the Greater Vancouver area. And we're very close to the Canada Line station Aberdeen, across the Aberdeen Mall. So if you're around the area, because you like the food around here, you can at any point always drop by the gallery and look at the art. We're always having an exhibition at the front that you can enjoy in our lobby. And as I was mentioning, these artworks will be displayed within the gallery space. And that if you purchase these artworks, you do get the NFT to go with them as well. So for the majority of the exhibition, we have noticed that there's mostly two tigers,
Yeah.
which I am very tempted to call lion. I do not know why, I'm just tempted. You can pin. Is this not for us or for the for our staff? Yeah, is it for our staff or is it for like viewers? Oh, for staff. Okay, it's all good. Alrighty. I'm just curious. I always go back and forth to see if someone is watching us. It's almost 5. How long have we been streaming? Do you know?
44 minutes.
44 minutes. Let's do it for another 15 and call it a day. Yeah.
I don't know, do you happen to participate with previous women's exhibition, the one you sent me?
Oh yes, I can. How can you send me that one? I'm once again on the very. Okay, here I found it again. Sorry, Nang. Against your best advice, I'm here going on Google Images, on the Google search engine very often.
Ooh, wow, we have a lot more.
Yeah, there's a lot of artworks for this exhibition. So let me start from the very
Interesting
top.
starting point.
From the corner, right? But this more or less is the entrance of the gallery space. And then we will be having an exhibition with Goyan and Pepe again. So there are a duo artists. So let me give you a bit of background information. Goyan, who is a Chinese artist, and now currently is Vancouver-based, met Pepe Hidalgo, who is a Spanish artist, and now also a Vancouver-based artist, at one of our exhibitions. So they met at the Bridges of Friendship exhibition, which is one of the, we collaborated with the Mexican consulate to bring Latin American talent into this gallery space so that we could expand I guess, we could diversify the voices within our space, and we could bring these voices to Richmond. And then, so they met at that exhibition, and both of them don't speak very much English. So it really surprises me that they connected through their art, because Goyan has this very historical approach to her work as well. As you know, as I had mentioned in previous live streams, that Pepe is very much inspired by the history and by the history of art, and what themes those artists back back generations ago used to create. And Goyan also takes reference from this iconography. This is from a very famous painting, French painting, the Liberty.
The name.
Yeah, so this one is, it's in French. It's the, can you search the Liberty? Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, it's Liberty leading the people. Excellent. So I still know some points within our history. Whew, Emily Carr hasn't led me astray yet. And then she does base it, this statue is something that I also see repeated a lot within smaller towns, that you see like this sculpture. I tried to research into it. Now, it wasn't just me, it was other stuff. One of them, you probably didn't meet her, but she specialized within Renaissance art,
Oh.
and then she also was helping me track down this particular sculpture. So we didn't know how to get started, so we just went bronze sculpture of a man on a horse, and we just thought it was. We still have we don't know the inspiration behind it or the specific. We were trying to track down the genealogy of that particular, to the origin of that particular work, and we just thought that it might have been a generic way of displaying some maybe political figures. I'm still unsure, to be 100% honest with you, but even this figure over here, it reminds me of Edwardian paper boy, and you see the contrast with liberty leading the people, and then you have, once again, I find this, I can't help myself, but I do find this to be a very military reference, and I am unsure if it has colonialist colonialist background. I am unsure, or if it's more meant to be someone to honor someone who has been brave for the community. So when Pepe and Goyan met at the Bridges of Friendship exhibition, Pepe was part of the exhibition, and he was. Which artworks did he have? Let me see if I can. Let me see if it might have been one of these ones. I think it could have been this one in particular.
Spinner?
Yes, the spinners. Or was it the Diego Velázquez, Las Meninas? Trying to recall. I do believe it might have been a different rendition of this particular painting that Pepe reinterpreted. And, you know, Goyan, who's very fascinated by the Western art canon, because she actually grew up in China, and she mentions how different it is when you study Chinese art, and how sorry, I'm losing my train of thought over here. So, because Goyan has this interest for the Western art canon as well, she approached Pepe and was asking him questions about why he's so interested in incorporating these historical references within his work. And then he gives him the story that I mentioned in my previous live chat, that that he grew up under the dictatorship of Francisco Franco, and that back when he went into the museum, most of the artworks were very representational, as it is with like a great deal of totalitarian led regimes, that they find to have you find them to have this very representational aspect that they want to still within the populace. But that's a discussion for a different day. I could really go in depth into that, but I would have to have a whole script and do more research onto that. But once that regime fell, then the arts within Spain, as Pepe recalls, were introduced to other movements like Cubism and Surrealism, and this made a really big impact on him, because he had come to just accept that this representational art, as a young boy, this is what art was. And then all of a sudden he was somewhat enamored by the possibilities that there could be so much more art, and he was so excited. So that is his own personal happenstance. I can pronounce words right now. And then Goyan found this to be very fascinating, this history that he has with work. I bet she does have her own story as to why she loves to reference art history within her own work very much. Oh, to show you, this is their collaboration together. Can I right click on that? What's the name of this? And it was sold.
Oh, Promised Land.
the promised land. So once again, a very biblical story. So both of them always grounding their work within the references of historic, either biblical or historical scenery. Well, and I mean, you can see very much Pepe's influence and style over here, and Goyan's over here. I find like this is a very good example of Goyan for this particular subject matter, because her work gives me a bit of Adam and Eve references when during the creationist story, when they are in the garden. I am losing my words, and I am, as a Christian, I should be ashamed that I can't recall all the exact names of this story. Yeah, I actually grew up Catholic in Guatemala, so I grew up Catholic, and then when we moved here, we came to the Baptist church, which was very different from what I was used to, because Catholicism tends to be very strict with its rituals, and it's very conservative in its morality, and that's in a bottle. That's what Catholicism is. Very strict rituals. You pray to very specific saints within the Catholic, and they have a lot of iconography, an incredible amount of iconography, 110%. So I actually grew up reading the Bible for my Sunday school church, right? So when I moved to Canada, we wanted to also find a Catholic church to attend, but it was so incredibly far away that we couldn't bother ourselves. It was not within our resources to do that. So we just kind of settled. I love how I use the word settle. We settled for this Baptist church that our neighbors went to. So they were the ones who introduced us to this church. And it was quite wonderful, actually, because we met some really great people in there. Right now, I consider myself a bit of a bad Christian because I don't go to church every Sunday as I used to. But now that I'm talking about these biblical references, the nudes within Goyan's work remind me a lot of the work of Hieronymus Bosch again, which is something that Pepe also references a lot. So I can see how they're so interconnected within the references they pick, which is why even though they don't understand each other while they speak.
Dual language.
Yeah.
So that they can use art.
Yeah.
Dual language.
Yeah, so they use art as the language where they communicate. And I find that they're able to do that very successfully because they know the references that they're relating to each other. This is pretty interesting. This gives me the Venus of, the goddess of Venus. Venus, yeah, the Venus goddess. It's a Renaissance painting by, even the name I forget. I think my art history teacher will be, yeah, the very famous Botticelli. It's Botticelli, yes. I needed to see it in person. I needed to see it so I can actually recognize the style. I do not know why that scenery is popping into my head for this particular. Maybe it's giving something about this is giving me Botticelli, but I do not know what it is. I would have to look at that painting more slowly. See, so another biblical reference, the Ark of Noah. And is this a combination of the two of them? No, it's just a Goyan. Yeah, so I do think that maybe Goyan is more biblical based. More biblical based. It's interesting because I believe in China, most religions are banned, correct?
Depends on what kind of religion.
Depends on what kind of religion. So let's speak very broadly and mention and just say Christianity. Would you be able to build a church and congregate there on a Sunday morning? You don't think so? No. Okay, so no. So you're not allowed to practice Christianity, which is very interesting because she has lived most of her life in China. And then for her to reference these biblical, I mean, it's true, you know, all these creationist scenes are, you know, reinterpreted by so many artists throughout all of Renaissance, even during Baroque periods. Every now and then you see a modern, not a modern, but like contemporary artists reference back to these, you know, they're very popular stories within the Bible as well. Yeah, so there's very much this surreal aspect to her work, where the subjects sometimes look like they're not complete, they're separated from their background, and they're kind of like living in their own they're like within the whole scenery, but they're not together. Like that's a sense that her work gives me. Let me look at this one. I want to see what the name of this guy. Ah, I moved past it. Give me the name. Give me the name. So the exhibition. I didn't give you the details of that one. Oh, it's a Noah. Oh yeah, now I see the. I see it. I see the. What do you call the tip of a ship? I used to know the name for that because we used to have the Titanic exhibition here. But I don't know it anymore. But there is a name for the tip of an actual ship, the bow.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what it is, the bow. Yeah, so it does. Yeah, now I see this. This gives me New York vibes. On the aliens are attacking. If you know what I mean. Noah's Ark. Yeah, so I do like how these figures are coming together and they create this bit of mass. And it's the same, I find the same approach with the buildings. They're also coming together and they're creating this very geometric shape. So there's that contrast between the very linear versus the very organic under a biblical story. So, hello! We're almost done. Oh, you're leaving? Okay, so we'll lock up. Bye! Happy weekend! Thanks! I also think we should wrap out and go home.
Yes.
So to give you the last details of this particular exhibition, we will be having their exhibition on March, and you're very welcome to come in. We still haven't decided on an opening date yet, but if you follow us on Instagram, we'll keep you updated on all these details. Once again, Pepe referencing his fish.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at YouknowArts for more updates on artists, Vancouver-based artists mostly.
Yeah.
But if you're an international artist, and you're looking to collaborate with us, we would be open to hear your pitch. Pitch, yes, your pitch. Yeah, no, just basically say, hi, my name is this, I saw you on a live stream, and I just wanted to see if we could collaborate in the future. Here's my portfolio. Always send your portfolio. Always send us your portfolio, okay? Alrighty. So we do receive plenty of portfolios per week, and we're not able to sometimes adequately, reply to all portfolios. But if we do find your portfolio very interesting, we will be 100% be contacting you. Alrighty. Is there anything else I should say today? Yeah, so let me close this. That's about it. Well, thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk. I'm always so tempted to finish it off as my TED Talk, but it's a tour, an introduction to always a new artist within our roster. And I'd like to thank Jay for helping me find information on some of the pieces that I was lacking. I was lacking some information here and there, and she was so incredibly helpful. So thank you so much, Jay. Everyone say goodbye to Jay. I mean, this will work a lot if we actually had people watching the live stream and be like, bye, Jay. Alrighty. Well, I shall see you till next time. So we don't live stream on weekends. We only do this during the weekday because we only work the weekdays. But maybe we might do a quick little live stream for an opening. I don't know. We could do that.
We can do that.
We'll see. Well, thank you so much for staying with us. I wish you a very lovely night.